folks, thank you for checking out my video. Today I have a special DIY project for my son who is about to head into high school and is age ready to get a permit or a driver's license. So I'm sitting in a classic 1999 Toyota Camry. It's a V4. This vehicle has been out of commission for the last 3 years due to major engine failure, including engine misfire, and the whole engine shakes when I turn on the ignition, so I was not able to drive it, and some other issues that it's been having. So I've been working on it to at least get it started, but the engine is still shaking, so that will be the major project that I will be doing. So wish me luck. I'm going to change the motor mounts, some spark plugs, do some light touches to the car, including changing the front brake pads as well as the rear brakes, so that this car can be safe to drive. Again, this is a 1999 Toyota Camry. It's over 20 years old. It has close to 260,000 miles on this thing. This is crazy. I'm hoping with the replacement of motor mounts and changes to the spark plug system that will be sufficient to get this Toyota up and running again. And hopefully I get it to the point where it's safe enough for my son to drive as his first car. I'm going to turn on the ignition to check out the shaky engine. This is the motor mount, and it is completely coming off. The rubber piece here is coming off the metal, so that's why the engine is shaky. We're going to have to replace all the motor mounts. We have the front motor mount here. There's also one way back here. I don't think we can see, but you have to take off the wheel to see the other motor mount. And then we have another one way in there as well. So we have to take off the tire to replace that motor mount. The other piece too is I'm going to have to change all the spark plugs and spark plug wires. We'll take these pieces off, take a look inside to see if oil's leaking or anything like that. Kind of tune it up a little bit and see if we can get it to run again smoothly on the road. So here are the new motor mounts. Front mount, and then the rear mount. Also, this is the driver's side mount. These are brand new. Looks pretty good here. So we'll see. Let's figure out how to do this. Before I get started, the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the battery. Okay, so I used to put a little cover here, right? It could be any kind of cover that you have around. So that's the first step I would do always when I work on a car, is disconnect the battery. Putting this car on brake. So I removed the motor mount right here, as you can see here. The rubber part here completely came off from the metal part here, and even here too is all brittle and cracked. Replacing this part is pretty easy. You need a 14mm socket to remove this bolt here, and then a 14mm for this bolt here. Pretty simple to do, so I'm not showing you how to do it. It's pretty self-explanatory. There are some bolts there. This is a 17mm, and the rest is 14mm bolts. So we need to remove those. You also have to remove the bolt from the bottom as well. In order to do that, you have to take these panels out of the way so that you can access the bolts. I can't access right now because the vehicle is kind of low to the floor, so I'm gonna have to jack up the car. So you see I have two jack stands here, one on the passenger side and one on the driver's side. So just to make sure it's secured before I go under the car. Again, if you don't feel safe doing this, don't do this. Get somebody else to do it. Safety is very important. Alright folks, now I can remove the panel here so I can access the bolts from the bottom. Well, I do have power tools after all. The bolts here are 10mm. Alright, last one. Oh, I love these power tools, man. They're so helpful. Cool. Alright, it's coming off. So the panels came off here. Where are we? That's where the motor mount is. Right, so we need to have access to here. For this bolt here, you need a 17mm socket, and then the bottom ones you need 14 millimeter. So I sprayed WD-40 about a day ago, just to hopefully loosen it up a little bit and see if that's going to help me. Well, the other piece too is that before you remove the mount, you want to put a jack underneath there to support the engine, because you don't want the engine to come loose and hit the other part there. So I'm going to put a jack there to support it. So what I did there is I support the engine by placing a block of wood underneath the oil pan. So this way when I remove the motor mount, and when it comes loose, it doesn't fall into the ground or knock other parts of the car. And also it's going to help me remove the motor mount as well. Again, you need a 17 millimeter socket, counterclockwise. Yeah, this thing is really tight in there. Not even an inch. There we go. I was able to remove it right here. I shortened the extension there because I can reach it. So cool. What I'm going to do is just leave it like that. Give it some space there. I'm not going to take it completely off until I remove the bottom there. I was able to remove the 14 millimeter here, both of them. So now there's one more bolt there that you have to go underneath to remove. And afterward, you can just remove this piece here. Yep, the last piece is right here. So I used a power drill, and it came off pretty nicely. There's the top piece there that just moved out of the way there. Alright, so I just removed that there. I'm going to jack this up a little bit so there'll be more space. There you go. Finally, the boot out. So I'm glad I removed it. As you can see, here, it's moving. It's not supposed to move. This is the piece that I'm replacing it with. As you can see, there's no movement here. So I'm glad I was able to take it out. Here's a new motor mount there. It's not fitting in right now, so I'm just gonna have to jack the motor a little bit more so that I can squeeze this in there to plug it in. So I jacked the engine up, as you can see here. So I got the 3 screws in. I'm gonna screw it in there as much as possible, but I'm not gonna tighten it because I'm going to have to lift up the engine later on at this point, but at least I'm locking the screws in place, like so. While I have the jack supporting this side of the vehicle, I'm going to remove the tire here and start working on this side. The motor mount is underneath there. So here's one 10 millimeter. Where is it? Hope I can find it. Okay, I can't find it. Alright, so the motor mount, yeah, the motor mount is deep in there. So I might not even try to change it. Darn it. I thought it would be somewhere. I thought it'd be somewhere right here. You know, I thought it'd be somewhere right here, like where the flashlight is, so I can see it. But it's deeper than I thought. Right there. So there's a bolt up there. But there's 2 bolts here that you can reach from the underneath. So we'll see. Wow. This is way too deep. I know my limits, so I'm not going to try to get it out. Hopefully it's not that damaged. I don't think so. It's at the bottom, you know, maybe. The bottom ones, usually they're not that bad. But at least I got the first one out. And and took care of this one here as well. On the other side here, as you can see, this mount here looks pretty good too. It looks pretty. I don't see any movement here. But I'm gonna change this because I have access to it. And the other one, forget it. I'm not gonna do it. That's crazy. It's gonna take me hours. So, but I think I can do this one here. So I'm just gonna focus on this one. And at least we got 3 on there. I think it'll be stable enough. And you know, we'll turn on the engine and see how stable it is. So now that I made my decision, I'm going to move the jack to support the transmission oil pan here so that I can remove the engine mount. Alright, so these are 14 millimeters right there. Cool, here's another one right there. And then there's two at the bottom. You have to get underneath to get it out, okay? There's a couple of covers here. There you go. I got one of them out. It's 14 millimeter. So I use this long right here. This is give me leverage. There you go. You lock it in there. And then counterclockwise. There we go. Boom. So it looks like that. And then the same process with this guy here. As you can see, I have the jack supporting the engine here. So this is right underneath the transmission oil pan. In order to remove this part here, I have to jack it up so the engine can come off from the motor mount, and I can pull this guy out, because right now you can't pull it out. So we're going to jack it up a little bit. How do you even do this, man? Okay, I might be able to, if I can push it a little bit more. Okay, I think a little bit more. So this is why you leave the front motor mount loosened, so it has some leeway to go up. Push out a little bit more. Ah, come on, man. There you go. See, it's moving. Ooh, okay, I move this guy out. Alright, I think if I can lift the motor a little bit more, that's going to be helpful. Let's see. There we go. Oh, perfect. Cool. Right there. So my problem right now is this is not fitting. I got these two bolts in, but this is not aligning. So I don't know what to do. See if I can keep pounding on this, and then hopefully this will move in a little bit more. But we'll see. So I'm going to try something different. I'm going to lift it up by jacking it up, and then I'm going to spray WD-40 here, so maybe that when I bring it down it'll slide into place. But hopefully this will be slippery enough for it to fall into place. So folks, I finally got this motor mount fit in there. It took me a long time to maneuver the the engine to try to fit it in. If you're going to do this project, you're going to need a lot of patience because this is not simple to do, but it's doable. So with this done, I am excited and I can't wait to see how the motor runs. This is what my new engine looks like. I can't wait to test it out. That is the new motor mount there. As you can see, it is tightly secured. You have this other motor mount here as well, pretty secured as well. The other motor mount there, the only motor mount that I did not replace is the one way in the back there. It's just too dangerous for me. I just don't have the right equipment to get underneath the car to get it out. And safety is primary for me. I don't want to die doing this. So I might change it at some point, but at this point I just don't have enough equipment to do it. So the other thing I did too, I did a lot to this car. It has new spark plug wires, new spark plugs. I also got new spark plug coils. This I think solved the misfire situation there. There shouldn't be any more misfiring. And also new cover gasket as well. There was some leaking there. There's a rear cam plug there that I don't have, but eventually I will change it. But for now, the leaking is minimal. I also cleaned the throttle valve as well. I opened up this tube and I sprayed some throttle body spray in there to clean it up a little bit more. I also changed the coolant temperature sensor as well, as you can see. I also did some touch up. I cleaned the engine a little bit. The vehicle also received new front brake pads, and it also received rear drum brakes as well. Wheel drums is a pain in the butt to remove because they get stuck, and then there's those springs that are connecting the shoes together that you have to remove, so it took me a while. You notice here that the tires is cracking here, so I'm going to have to replace the tire as well. As I mentioned before, this vehicle has been sitting for the last 3 years, so when the tires don't receive any kind of activity for over a period of time and exposed to the weather, it's going to crack and it's dangerous to drive it. So it looks like I'm going to have to replace the tire. So other than that, this thing should be running pretty smoothly. I can't wait to test it out to see how it's going to perform. Okay, so now this is a big moment. I'm going to start the engine and see if it's still moving like before, or it is going to be stationary where I can drive it. Cool. As you can see, the engine does not move at all, so that's really great. So no movement here like before. The engine sounds really good. No knocking or lifter sound or anything like that. So I'm really happy. This is a 20 years old car and it's still functioning really well. So I think now what I'm going to do is take it for a test drive. Let me reverse. Nice and smooth. There we go. Oh man, the brakes is good, and then I can still feel quite a bit of power in this car. It's a V4. After 20 years, I can't ask for more. Again, the engine sounds really good. I don't hear any knocking noises or lifting noises. So I'm very impressed. I'm trying to listen to any kind of clanking noises, but it's running pretty smoothly. I'm going around 30 miles per hour right now. I don't want to go faster than 40. You saw earlier the tires are cracking because it's been sitting there for a number of years, and so I don't want to take any risks going fast and then you know, get a flat tire. There we go. So this is good. I just need to get new tires, and I'm going to do some oil change as well as flush out the coolant and then maybe get a new paint job, and that will do for my son Dylan. He's 14, and by next year he's going to be able to learn how to drive, and this is going to be his first car for the first couple of years until he drives better, and then we'll get him a better car. But for now, I can't believe this car is still running like, you know, it was like 5 years old. It's pretty smooth. Toyota.